Hello there, it's Jose. Thank you for coming in and watching part 2 of creating the Midna Helmet from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. In today's video, we are going to be painting the helmet to look like stone. Alright, let's get started. So just to recap, I've made this in part 1 using foam and a wood burner to carve in the designs, trying to match the helmet from the video game as close as I could. And today we are going to be using some acrylic paint. In particular, I like using the Liquitex Basics just because they're cheaper and they do a pretty decent job. To start, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to get my little palette and my black paint, and we are going to paint the whole thing black. This is going to allow us to get all the grooves that were carved in using the wood burner all filled in with black paint, and it's also going to give us a very nice basic coat that will allow us to do a dry brush technique without worrying too much about what's underneath, because hey, it's already painted one solid color. I'm also using an alder paintbrush because anytime that you paint a 3D object, especially one like this one that has, small grooves and some ins and outs, the bristles at the end of the bristles tend to get caught, and if you're using a brand new brush, especially if it's an expensive brush, you might end up damaging the brush a little bit. So always use an all paintbrush when you're doing something like this. Alright, now that this is finished, we are going to move forward painting the rest of the helmet. So I'm going to be using this 50-cent paint that I got at the local hardware store from their painting department that someone just didn't want to buy or return or whatever. And I'm going to be using this kind of like the base color, but not just the only color we're going to be using. I have some blues, oranges, reds, browns, and greens that I'm going to mix in little by little as I'm going through. As you can see, it is a lighter gray tone that kind of matches the color that I'm looking for, but I don't want for it to look too flat, so I'm going through little by little using a dry brush technique, meaning that the paintbrush itself is not fully loaded or saturated with paint. There's only a little bit of paint on the brush, so that when I'm applying the paint on the foam, it is not covering the foam completely. This allows for the areas that we painted black that are recessed because they're carved in to remain black, and it allows us to build up the color little by little, one layer at a time, allowing for the color underneath to kind of be seen a little bit, but not too much. As I'm going through, I'm also making sure that I'm not always using the same hint of gray and at the same lightness. I want to add a little bit of black here and there. This is going to allow for the foam to get more of a rock look, where it's not just very monotone, flat, and evenly covered. It kind of gives it more of almost like, when you look at marble, it has like the veins and the shapes, or when you look at a rock, it has different colorations throughout it. So it's not just like one color all the way through. So I'm adding a little bit of black here and there just so that there's some areas that are darker, some areas that are lighter, and it's just going to make it look and read a lot more like stone. Although hey, it's foam, because I don't have the time or the skill to make this out of stone, and it will be really heavy for me to wear if it was actually made out of stone. But foam, hey, it's light, it's cheap, and it's easy to work with. So again, just going through, just making sure that all the areas of the helmet are treated equally, not evenly where they all look the same, but just enough where there's the same darkness, the same lightness all throughout. And once I'm kind of getting pretty happy with it, I start just going a little bit lighter and kind of hitting the outer areas or the parts of the helmet that are sticking out the most. So by logic, the things that are further away from us or receded into an object are going to be darker because there's going to be less light hitting it, and the parts that are sticking out more are going to be a little bit lighter. Now I'm going through and adding just some actual shading throughout some of the areas. Those are going to be the areas that I want to kind of redefine the shapes that are sticking out from the different parts of the helmet, and just to kind of make it look a little bit more aged. So here's the finished product. Now I changed the lighting quite a bit just so that everything could read a little bit better, and I have the wig that goes with the project and the ears put in place. So as you can see, there is a lot of stippling and a lot of different textures added to the foam, and this is all doing the dry brush technique. Let me know what you guys thought. Have a good day. Bye. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like it, leave a comment below, and for more art related videos, go to my channel and subscribe.